6 p.m. on a Tuesday here in Korea. Welcome to our newscast. I'm Daniel Che. These are the headliners for today. President Park Geunhye holds telephone talks with our U.S. and Japanese counterparts. All agree on a firm response to North Korea's latest provocations. South Korea's defense ministry determines that North Korea's rocket launch is not an upgrade from 2012, nor does the regime possess the technology to bring a rocket back into the atmosphere. Traffic congestion continues nationwide as cars flood in and out of Seoul for the Seollal holidays. We take a look at how, for road crews and those in the service sector, the Lunar New Year period has become another working holiday. Let's begin at the nation's top office, where President Park Geunhye spoke with U.S. President Barack Obama and Japanese Prime Minister Shinzo Abe by phone today. All three agreed on a need for the strongest sanctions ever on North Korea in the wake of its latest rocket launch and fourth nuclear test. Song Ji-sun starts us off.
President Park Geunhye spoke with the leaders of the United States and Japan by phone on Tuesday morning, where they exchanged views on North Korea's nuclear test last month and Sunday's rocket launch. The three leaders had also spoken the day after the North's fourth nuclear test on January 6. President Park stressed that North Korea cannot succeed in simultaneously advancing its nuclear program and its economic development, and that Pyongyang's test of ballistic missile technology cannot be accepted, as it is a direct challenge to global peace and stability. President Obama said North Korea's launch is a clear violation of UN Security Council resolutions and a direct threat to the security of the United States and its allies. Washington also reaffirmed that the U.S. stands firm in abiding by its mutual defense treaty with South Korea. In response, President Park expressed her appreciation for Washington's commitment to its allies and affirmed that maintaining a deterrent is the best way to counter the North nuclear programs. Soon after speaking with President Obama, President Park spoke with Japanese Prime Minister Shinzo Abe. The two leaders reaffirmed their common goal of seeking the strongest and most effective UN resolution on North Korea, so the North pays price for its fourth nuclear test and the latest rocket launch. President Park stressed the need for separate bilateral and multilateral sanctions on North Korea, in addition to UN Security Council resolution that's already in the works, with Abe responding that Tokyo is currently in the process of crafting its own set of sanctions on Pyongyang. Song Ji-sun, Arirang News.
The South Korean government is seeking stronger cooperation from the international community in dealing with North Korea's recent aggressions. That's why Foreign Minister ByungSe has embarked on a trip to the U.S. and Germany to speak with UN Chief Ban Ki-moon and other officials on the matter. For details, we turn to Kwon So-ah.
South Korea's Foreign Minister ByungSe expressed his hope for stronger sanctions on North Korea than in the past before embarking on a trip to the United Nations headquarters in New York on Tuesday. That'll include a meeting with UN Secretary General Ban Ki-moon, and Yoon is expected to ask for his cooperation in bringing about the swift adoption of new sanctions on Pyongyang. Yoon also vowed to push for greater support from the UN Security Council, whose 15 member states all agreed on the need for new measures against Pyongyang's latest missile launch.
The UN Security Council released a strong statement. Based on that momentum, I will bolster efforts with UN members and key allies.
And those efforts will include pushing China, North Korea's closest ally, to change its lukewarm stance toward tougher sanctions.
China and Russia were considerably cooperative in issuing Sunday's statement. Various separate discussions with China are also in progress in Seoul, Beijing, and at the UN.
Minister Yoon will continue his diplomatic efforts in Germany, where he will undertake a 3-day trip beginning Thursday to attend the annual Munich Security Conference. North Korea will be on the agenda there too, with Yoon slated to give a speech on South Korea's approach to Pyongyang. He is also expected to hold several other meetings on the issue, including with U.S. Secretary of State John Kerry, Germany's foreign minister, and maybe with his Russian counterpart too. Kwon So-ah, Arirang News.
South Korea's defense ministry has released its interim report on North Korea's rocket capability. It comes 3 days after Pyongyang launched a rocket carrying what it claims to be an Earth observation satellite into orbit. Kim Hyun-bin shares with us the findings.
South Korea's defense ministry on Tuesday released its technical analysis of North Korea's recent rocket launch. The report, compiled by the Agency for Defense Development, says the Gwanggmyeong-4 satellite is in orbit and that the rocket's 3 stages separated successfully. The ministry added that it is trying to determine if the satellite is working properly, but said that no signals have been detected so far. U.S. officials with a similar analysis have been quoted by various media outlets, saying the satellite North Korea fired into space is, quote, tumbling in orbit and incapable of functioning in any useful way. Seoul's defense ministry says the rocket launched on Sunday is similar to that Lunar 3 that was launched in December of 2012.
North Korea's recent long-distance missile launch is similar to the previous missile launch in 2012.
They compared the rocket's trajectory and the altitude at which the satellites entered orbit, which were the same for both. They also examined the time it took both rockets to put the satellite into orbit. The Lunar 3 had a maximum range of 10,000 kilometers, and the ministry says the range of the rocket launched Sunday is better by about 2,000 kilometers. The ministry also said that although North Korea has developed its intercontinental ballistic missile technology with this latest launch, it has not yet perfected the technology needed to bring a launched missile back through the atmosphere. South Korea was the first to detect the rocket just 50 seconds after it was fired, but the rocket disappeared from radar 6 minutes after the launch, which was also shortly after the rocket shed the fairing that encases the satellite. Seoul and Washington are conducting a joint investigation into the matter, including analysis of the debris from the rocket's first stage. The ministry says it will be some time before it has any definitive results. Kim Hyun-bin, Arirang News.
There was a time when it seemed highly unlikely that THAAD would even be under consideration by Seoul. But all that's changed over the weekend with North Korea's rocket launch. The American missile defense system could be deployed in the Korean peninsula as early as next week. Here's Connie Kim with the updates.
The United States hopes to deploy its Terminal High Altitude Area Defense, or THAAD system, to the Korean peninsula as soon as possible.
We'd like to see this move as quickly as possible, but we're beginning the consultations now in the coming days with the South Koreans, and we expect that this will move in an expeditious fashion.
The official's remarks come as South Korea and the United States agreed to discuss the matter on Sunday, the same day North Korea launched its long-range rocket. Citing a U.S. official, CNN reported that Washington wanted to deploy THAAD as early as next week, adding to speculation the system could be on South Korean soil soon. On Monday, U.S. President Barack Obama said for the first time that Washington and Seoul were in talks over boosting missile defense capabilities to prevent any possibility that North Korea could hit U.S. facilities or populations. The White House added THAAD would only be used to counter threats from Pyongyang, a statement echoed by the Pentagon.
If the THAAD system were deployed to the Korean Peninsula, it would be focused solely on North Korea and contribute to a layered missile defense.
China is deeply opposed to the deployment, as THAAD's radar has a radius of some 2,000 kilometers, meaning it could cover half of mainland China when deployed in Pyeongtaek, one of the candidate locations of the THAAD system. China's foreign ministry says the deployment of such a powerful piece of military hardware to the peninsula would detract from efforts to maintain peace and security in the region. Connie Kim, Arirang News.
In light of the North's rocket launch, South Korean politicians are renewing their focus on national security. Naturally, the counterterrorism bill, which was stalled, is thrust into the spotlight. To fill us in, here's Lee Min-young.
South Korea's rival political parties were quick to condemn North Korea's rocket launch. On the issue of deploying a U.S. missile defense system known as THAAD to South Korea, the ruling Saenuri party said it was high time the country had an extra layer of protection from North Korea's missile threats.
I strongly demand that we come up with firm countermeasures against North Korea's nuclear and missile programs. It's a life and death matter for people here as well.
South Korea's main opposition party suggested the regime's excessive focus on nuclear weapons and rockets could end up backfiring on it.
North Korea should understand that its obsession with the nuclear development will lead to the regime's collapse.
The parties have been monitoring recent developments on the Korean peninsula as tension again threatens to bubble over. A day after the North launched its rocket, a North Korean patrol boat crossed the northern limit line, the maritime border in the West Sea that separates the Koreas. The boat retreated after the South Korean Navy fired warning shots. The development have also refocused attention on a stalled bill at the National Assembly. The rival parties have yet to fully agree on passing an anti-terrorism bill aimed at protecting the lives of South Koreans and improving human rights in North Korea. Lee Min-young, Arirang News.
Meanwhile, local political parties are gearing up for a general election in mid-April. Nearly half of the country's incumbent lawmakers have registered to run for re-election. But with the nation's electoral map still not drawn, some politicians are asking for the election to be postponed. Ji Myung-gil tells us more.
A controversy is heating up over the upcoming parliamentary election on April 13th. The newly formed People's Party says that, with the country's electoral map still in limbo, the election must be postponed to ensure the people's right to choose and to expand opportunities for aspiring politicians. It says the uncertainty over some electoral districts and the disappearance of others could deal a decisive blow to political newcomers who will have less time to make themselves known to voters. The ruling Saenuri Party and the main opposition Minju Party have both rejected the proposal. The country's electoral map expired at the end of last year. The two main rival parties have agreed to keep the total number of lawmakers the same at 300, with 253 seats for regional representatives and 47 for proportional representatives. But they are still at odds over whether or not to put the bill to redraw the map in the same basket as other bills on the economy and labor reform. 137 lawmakers have already decided to run for re-election on April 13th. 75 from the ruling Saenuri Party, 56 from the Minju Party, 2 from the People's Party, and 4 from the Justice Party. By region, Korea's central Chungcheongbuk-do province has the highest percentage of lawmakers mounting re-election campaigns, with 88% of incumbent lawmakers having registered already, followed by the capital of Seoul with 81%. The southwestern city of Gwangju had none. With the controversy of the electoral map, there is growing speculation that sitting lawmakers may be putting off the redistricting bill on purpose to give themselves an advantage in their constituencies. Those who have registered can conduct limited campaign activities until the end of March, even though their constituencies haven't yet been determined. Ji Myung-gil, Arirang News.
The mass exodus in and out of Seoul on this Lunar New Year holiday continues. Let's get a check on the traffic situation. With just a little over a day left before the 5-day Lunar New Year holiday ends, congestion on the roads have eased up a little bit compared to earlier today. The Korea Expressway Corporation says as of 5 p.m., the drive from Busan to Seoul will take a little less than 6 hours. From Daejeon to Seoul, 3.5 hours, and it'll be about a 5-hour drive from Daegu. The KEC estimates that 4.3 million cars will be returning back to the capital region today. Seoul-bound traffic is expected to continue past midnight until 2 or 3 a.m. Wednesday morning. Most people in Korea have another day and a half of their 5-day Lunar New Year holiday to kick back and relax. Most, not all. According to Shin Se-min, it's business as usual for those in the transportation and service sectors. Take a look.
An annual mass exodus is taking place in the country in light of the Lunar New Year holiday. It's also a time when highways are clogged and bus stations loaded with passengers, all making their journey home to spend a long-awaited moment with their family.
And here at Seoul Station, it's no exception. Some 2.8 million travelers will be getting on and off the trains to see their family members living in other parts of the country. But it wouldn't have been possible without those hard at work, even during the national holidays.
At the forefront are train conductors, working extended hours during the holiday period, along with the rail staff that assist countless number of travelers. They even provide directions to patrons waiting on the packed platforms.
I won't get the chance to see my family in my hometown this time, but helping others get to theirs and seeing them with gifts in both hands is rewarding.
And there are those who silently carry on with their duties as usual. City bus driver Lee Jae-won is one of them.
It's my job. Even if I don't get many days off to spend it with my family, it's all part of public service.
With a sense of responsibility and duty, public transportation operators in and out of the city are doing their best to accommodate the public. But it's not limited to transportation workers. Those in the leisure sectors are also sacrificing personal time with family for the benefit of the public.
This time, I chose to be more productive over the holiday as I have prioritized my work over spending time with my family.
While most of the public gets to take advantage of the rare, almost week-long holiday, there are those that are working hard and making sure everything runs smoothly so the rest of society can enjoy a happy and prosperous New Year. 신세민, Arirang News.
That's it from us for now. For more updates, join us at 10 p.m. Korea time for News Center with Moon Geun-young. For now, thank you for watching.